The essence of basketball. I don't know if you can be a basketball player without experience.
All radio. There he is.
10 on the dot.
Yo,
I mean,
yo.
There he is, yo.
An on-time guest. An on-time guest.
Bob don't play around. I'm not trying to be. You can't be late with Bob. I am late. 1 o'clock is late with Bob. I know this brother.
Being
You're
early
not
is
7.5
being
minutes
on time.
early.
Jesse Washington. Can we get some sound effects, Eric? Like,
Just hit the button. Just hit the button. Just hit the button.
rewind.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yo, we're gonna freak this. We're gonna freak this like this, yo. Eric, if you'll allow me, Jesse and I go back 30 plus years, so I'm gonna handle the introduction. That's cool with you?
I mean, why would you give an undersized, slow, small forward the introduction instead of the all-time point guard? I don't.
Okay,
I
well,
don't
all right,
understand
cool.
that logic.
An
So-
undersized small forward. That's two smalls.
Audience, we have with us today a very special guest and a dear friend, as well as a B-ball brother for life. I don't know that Eric can say that, but for Jesse and I, we go back to the 90s when I was a writer for Vibe magazine, a Quincy Jones publication, and I went 6 months without getting paid, even though we had 4 million readers around the world. And I walk into the managing editor's office. Jesse Washington, Eric, is behind his desk, looking really cool, looking athletic and fit. And, blah, 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 blah. He's like, yo, don't worry, we'll get you your money. I'll handle it. Yo, good looking, man. So he stands up to give me a pound, Eric. And I look up and I'm like, now I don't want to be like presumptuous just because he's African American, just because he's 6'5", just because he's athletic, that he plays ball. But I kind of delicately, like, just, mention, like, yo, I play ball, like, word. And then he said word, and the managing editor cap went off, and I was like, oh, he's a hip hop head too. Then he stepped out from behind the desk, and he had some Adidas shell toes on, retros, and I was like, oh, he's a sneakerhead too. So check, right, Eric? And from there, Jesse and I became like bonded, right? I put him down in a bunch of tournaments, and we wound up co-founding Bounce Magazine together, along with Sean Couch, an Indiana Pacers draftee. And moving forward, he is now the author of 2 books on the top 25 Amazon best-selling basketball titles, and one of which, and Jesse, correct me if I'm wrong, one of which is the New York Times bestseller. So does that make you a New York Times bestselling author or a bestselling co-author? I don't even know how to say that. Like,
I'm not sure how to say it. I'll say it like this. My name was printed on the New York Times bestseller list, so hey, I'm in there. You know what I'm
all
saying?
right. Well, why don't we go with it, Eric? Like, let's just say New York Times bestselling author and the filmmaker behind Hulu's new documentary titled Hip Hop in the White House. B-Ball Radio audience, please. Aplauso para mi hermano, Jesse Washington.
Whew, man, you brought me back with that one to the 90s, Bob. And I do remember that meeting. And, I knew who you were. And I was probably hoping deep down that you would, like, I'm always looking for the run. And so when we clicked up, those were some of the best basketball times of my life. And you were really, my entree and my stamp. If you come to the run with Bob, if you come to the league with Bob, then you must be official in some capacity. You ain't showing up with no burgers and bums. And those were great times, man. Those are great times.
No doubt.
Glad
No
to be
doubt.
here.
No doubt. One of my favorite quotes from your days of being an editor-in-chief at Bounce from the Playground magazine was that I'm not going to. In fact, why don't you say it? Because I don't want to paraphrase it. But you said my game was Poughkeepsie or something. You remember that?
Yeah, well, I did go to high school and junior high school in Poughkeepsie, New York. I moved out of New York City. I lived in Williamsburg before it was, what it is today. And we moved upstate, and that's where I went to high school. So, I had a bit of a chip on my shoulder because, I'm not, I definitely had something to prove being from there, and I felt like I played like it. But yeah, after a while I would wear, I am from Poughkeepsie, and you about to get this in your mug. Like that was where I took it.
Jesse, as you know, I've evolved to becoming a filmmaker. At some point, we met in that very interesting office, which was Bounce Die magazine. But the first time we really met and talked was at one of the full court 21s with Bob up at Goat Park, and I kind of put two and two together because so much time had gone by. But as Bob knows, I'm quite visual. So one of my buddies, Aaron Phillips, is who I believe you've been working on with the documentary.
Yes,
for
John
Coach,
Thompson,
but
yes.
obviously, front and center right
Oh, yes.
here. So, incredible work, and I know that documentary project has been in the works for quite a while. So I can't wait to see what the result of that is, which I'm really looking forward to. So.
Yeah, man. Shout to RTG Features for backing it, and Alcon Productions, which is a big time Hollywood outfit. So we got the perfect combination of producing partners in terms of the organic feel for it and the Hollywood know-how. The Thompson family are all EPs, so it's going to be official. Kirk Frazier, the director, brilliant dude, did a lot of dope films, including Without Bias, which was the Len Bias story. So the John Thompson documentary is definitely going to be dope. John Thompson is one of the most significant figures in the history of basketball, the first black coach to win a championship in any college sport, coached at Georgetown for 29 years, helped to bring hip-hop into the sports consciousness and make it a safe place for black coaches and all black teams to succeed at the highest level, changed the game of basketball, and is still revered for his wisdom, knowledge, and dedication to education. John Thompson, rest in peace, passed away 1 month after his book was published at the end of 2020.
So we all, I think, go through these moments where something is planted in our mind and we're like, we have to tell this story, right? Bob, you've experienced that. I've experienced that. Jesse, for you, when did that happen with Coach Thompson and this book? What was that defining thing where there was no turning back for you and you knew you had to do this?
The defining moment was when Coach Thompson looked at me one day and he said very simply, and this is an exact quote, "Jesse, we have to get this right." And so what he meant by that was, this history is too important. People are going to forget. They're not going to know. He knew that his era was fading out. I got kids who play ball who love basketball, but they don't necessarily know who he was. He knew that his story was so important that it needed to be told correctly. So he had other writers come in and work with him before, but none of those books came to fruition. I think that he was in good health, so it wasn't like, oh, I'm not going to be around for this, but he sensed that this was his last chance to explore this history. He is the bridge. When he was a teenager, Red Auerbach came to the playground to watch him play and took him up to Kutcher's, which was a basketball mecca in the Catskills, where pros would go in the summertime and players would go and have jobs. So this is in the 1950s. Coach Thompson graduated in 1960. Right, Wilt Chamberlain, exactly. So Coach Thompson experienced that as a teenager, and then when Allen Iverson was a teenager, he rescued Iverson from pretty much jail and oblivion and gave the world Allen Iverson. So that history in between Red Auerbach to Allen Iverson, Coach Thompson embodies that. So that was the moment. When he said, we have to get this right, I felt a huge drive and purpose and responsibility to go all out, and that's what we did.
I love the tie-in. I mean, Jesse, between me being a history nut and a lifelong Celtics fan, and growing up in New York, and Auerbach is looked at for me as obviously the gold standard in many ways. Learning about John Thompson, learning, when I'm 46, so I'm a little obviously behind you guys, but my introduction to John Thompson, of course, is the coach of Georgetown. It's the morning Dikembe teams. And then you're learning, oh, wait, John Thompson was a Celtic. John Thompson was Bill Russell's backup. John Thompson ties back all these ways. So I'm curious about the Bill Russell tie-in And, you know, you said something that a lot of people probably don't realize is John Thompson was the first coach to win a championship in the college level as a black head coach. Bill Russell, the first coach to do so in the NBA, back-to-back player coach, 68-69. So what were those tie-ins and parallels like for you as you were putting the book together with Coach?
Oh, it was amazing. I'm literally getting chills just thinking about hearing this period of history from Coach Thompson. So for the first thing, he graduated from Providence in 1964, All-American, 26 and 15. And he kept saying over and over, yeah, but I never got to play because I was behind Bill Russell, the greatest winner of all time. And so I went to the internet and I was like, Coach, your rookie year, you averaged, 10 minutes, 5 points, 4 rebounds. He was like, I don't give a damn what the internet says. I'm telling you, I never got to play. And what that meant was he was used to being the guy. And all of a sudden he's getting spot duty behind, but he recognized it. He didn't say it wasn't right. He was just like, I was playing behind Bill Russell. So Coach Thompson was on the first NBA team to start 5 black players.
Get out of here.
This was 1964. Yes, he was. He was there. Red Auerbach started 5 black guys. Coach Thompson was number 6. This also was an era where NBA teams in the 60s had an unspoken quota on black players. And Coach Thompson had heartbreaking stories about brothers who came to Celtics training camp, including the number 1 draft pick in 1965, Ollie Johnson, who they grew up in D.C. together competing, number 1 draft pick, who got cut because they didn't. And so he had this burning inside him. And then at the same time, he sees Red Auerbach starting 5 black players. So what he said about Coach Auerbach, who he loved and who was one of his hugest mentors and influences, was Red Auerbach could free the slaves. He just couldn't free them all at one time. a wild quote. So this period of history, I didn't really know about it. And I read a lot, bro. Like I consider myself a inquisitive person, and I just sort of overlooked the fact that the NBA did not permit unlimited black players at one time. So Coach Thompson, to share that with me, that whole period was amazing. And he also said that Bill Russell, he had very visceral stories about Bill Russell's black identity. And he basically said, Bill Russell taught me what it meant to be a proud black man and to stand up and speak out. So if you think about how that translates to what Coach Thompson did at Georgetown and how he protested against discriminatory academic rules and how he beat the NCAA into submission on these things, it's like, wow, I'm seeing this lineage take place in front of me. It was an amazing experience and responsibility to document that.
This is all incredible history. Literally, I'm sitting at my desk in my home office. You see all this stuff in the background, and then there's stuff off camera. So my journey through this space, as Bob knows, has become pretty surreal with who I have access to and the experiences. And for the last 2 years, I've been able to go to the Celtics preseason tip-off gala in Boston. And it's all about the Shamrock Foundation and their mission, and they have this whole Celtics United thing, and so much of their mission ties in.
Every question is related to the
No,
Celtics.
hear me out. Hear me out. Hear me out. Hear me out.
We know who you're going to root for in the finals.
You will cease to mock once I show you what is off camera.
Okay.
So two falls ago, you get there and it's the pre-event and they're putting all this stuff towards community initiatives and so many of the things that Bill Russell championed, that Coach Thompson championed. And, they have things you could, pay to get to go towards the foundation. And literally carved into the wood from the old school parquet are the jersey numbers of the all-black starting 5 that sits beside my desk.
Stop playing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So what? It was Casey Jones, Sam Jones, Tom Satch Sanders, Bill Russell, and who's the 5th?
And Willie Knowles, number 12, got the start. He was the 5th guy.
Wow. Okay, I did pretty good there. Not that I'm a Celtics fan, but I did pretty good there with 4 of the 5. I never even heard of Willie Knowles. Tom Satch Sanders.
By the time this
was from Harlem, represent
Absolutely.
East Harlem. Grew up playing at Mount Morris Park. All right, so there for your Celtics.
Bob, by the time the month of June is over, you are going to be draped in green, okay? the Red Auerbach, Bill Russell, handing it to John Thompson, and then the effect Thompson has had is unreal. And Bob, if you'll allow me, today is we're recording this on June 6th, so today is Game 1 of the NBA Finals, and we're not about to sit here and do present-day Finals talk, but, so much nostalgia around the Finals. But before then, you spoke on a few things tied to Coach Thompson. So when we think everything 84, Coach Thompson, Georgetown, Patrick Ewing, national title against Houston and Dream, obviously the swoosh on their shoes at the college level versus Converse at the pro level. I say all those things. What's the first thing that resonates with you when you go back with the everything 84 lens with Coach and Georgetown?
Yeah, first thing that resonates with me is gray and navy blue high top Terminators with not Nike on the heel, but Hoyas on the heel. And my eyes were glued to those sneakers. Mind you, at this time, I believe I was wearing suede Olympians from Favor. I'm pretty sure that that's what I had on. And I'm looking at these sneakers. I'm like, man, look at those. Forget Patrick Ewing and Michael Jackson. And this is before Air Jordan. And the Georgetown team was so hip hop. Without being no music in the arena, it was just their attitude, and it was all black. And so and I'm like 14, I think, something like that, 84, yeah, about that. And so I'm just captivated by the whole vibe around Georgetown. And they had a black coach, which was extraordinarily unusual in 84 to see African Americans in positions of authority in any place, let alone on the sideline. Fast forward today, and there are two black coaches in the NBA Finals coaching matchup, Joe Mazzulla for the Celtics, Jason Kidd for the Mavericks. I think this is the first Finals matchup of two black coaches since 1975 in the NBA.
Wow.
Yeah.
Bob, do you know who those coaches were in 1975?
I'm going to say it was the Warriors that won, so maybe Al Attles.
Yeah.
Correct.
And they beat... I don't remember who they beat.
They beat the Washington Bullets, and you actually said the guy's name a few minutes ago.
Yeah? Sat Sanders was their coach?
No. Close, though.
Casey Jones. Sam
Correct.
Jones. Casey Jones.
Casey Jones.
Eric, you're not a dictionary. You're a thesaurus of basketball knowledge.
That'd be an encyclopedia. Let me just step in there. But I'm impressed, though. I'm impressed, Bob.
Listen, I'm 9 years old in 1975, and I'm paying close attention to anything related to basketball because I'm just like, it's not until the 80s when I become like, the park is my church, and I'm strictly playground, like F everything else.
Right.
But and note in 84, I used to go to Villanova because I was playing at Lower Merion High School, and Villanova was down a bike ride away on Montgomery Avenue.
Word.
And so when Villanova beats Georgetown in 1985,
Ooh.
I'm jumping on my table rooting for them because I played in their gym. It's a little known fact, but that's the greatest college game I've ever witnessed. Villanova shot like 85% against the number one defensive team in the country and perhaps the number one defensive team in NCAA history, anchored by Patrick Ewing. So I'm happy for Coach Thompson that they won in 84 because we are everything 84 on this podcast, at least for this year. But shout out to the 85 Villanova Wildcats, yo. That was tremendous.
They did that. When we did the book, Coach Thompson and I, they made 3 championship games in 4 years. In 81, 82, they lost to Michael Jordan on the shot. Coach Thompson and I
North
watched
Carolina.
that game together, enjoyed it. Coach Thompson loves Jordan. That's the game where Jordan became Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
And then they won it in 84 and 85. We watched that one. So one day I'm like, yeah, Coach, you want to watch that Villanova game? He was like, I've never watched it. In other words, and when I'm not about to right now. And we didn't watch it. We did not watch it. Yeah. Everything 84, man, that was an amazing year. And, just think about how different basketball is now in all respects. And for better and for worse in some ways, it's just I feel really blessed to still be around and be on the show with you guys, still kicking and still able to maybe make a jumper once in a while.
The park is my church. I want to go back to a moment from 2019, which Eric Newman was there because I was the director of ESPN Plus's Sneaker Center series, and Eric was a field producer out of our love and friendship, and that's a building block on B-Ball Radio. And you were there as the qualifier from Montreal, Canada. Even though you were living at Pittsburgh.
Let's get into it. That's right.
In Pittsburgh at the time. And you were at Full Court 21, a.k.a. FC 21 All-World, three-time champion out of Philadelphia, 2015, 2017, 2018.
Yes.
So share with us how Montreal happened, and then you gotta explain the guitar moment in front of Lance Stevenson. Please.
Man. Well, first of all, Full Court 21 has been some of the most amazing basketball experiences of my life. And I lost every championship I was ever in. I lost. A lot of them I didn't make it to. But just that competition strictly outside on the playground, which is my favorite place of all time to play, and I think separates a level. If you haven't played outside, then I don't know if I'm really, that's a missing box that you haven't checked as a hooper. So, yeah, man, Philly, I got them 3 times. And then in 2019, I had a schedule conflict. By this point, I got kids playing AAU. I got kids playing college. I got, groceries to buy. You know what I'm saying? I got, things is busy. I can't make it. And so I look at the schedule. Which makes you
going to Montreal even more uncanny. But I'm sorry.
So I look at the schedule, and I'm like, okay, I can do this one. How far is it? Oh, it's a 10-hour drive. So I think I have twins, and I guess they were about 10 years old. I was like, yeah, who feels like going on a trip to Montreal? And they were like,
Daddy wants to play in FC 21.
I left that part out. So boom, I absolutely left it out. Why, Dad? This is supposed to be a bathroom break. Why are you stretching on the side of the road? And mind you, I'm 50 at this point. I'm 50 years old. So I pull up to the park, and our dear friend Will Strickland is there. We get there. I get there the night before. I'm rested. I'm prepared. I pull up to the park. He's like, oh, snap, Jess, this is great. Wow, I'm so surprised to see you. I did not tell him I was coming. Didn't say anything. I just showed up.
Was that the day that Jimmy Butler was there from the Miami Heat?
Nope.
Or that was the year before?
Not that day. Okay. I pull up to the park, and he's like, oh, wow, this is great. You came out to support and watch the game, huh? I was like, bro, I did not come here to watch anybody. I came to take your lunch money.
I'm suiting up.
I'm suiting up. Where's my shirt? Give it and then boom, we start to play. And long story short, the reason I was able to be successful in Full Court 21 at all was always I stayed in shape. That was the number one reason. And these cats would get tired, man. And so there was 2 younger dudes there, one tall, one medium sized, and they were really good. They were better than me. But I saw them lean over and grab their shorts. Saw them take a breather. I saw them knock it back on D twice in a row. And in my mind, I was like, yeah, I'm taking this. I'm running y'all out of here. But Will's got these crazy Canadian rules where you have to win 2 in order to advance. So during the first one, we're playing boom, and I'm coming down the court. Oh, hamstring. What's going on? But I played it off. I'm like, nah, I'm not giving in. We keep playing. Second game, a calf muscle. I'm like, wow, Jess, you really are old.
Well, you were 50 at the time, right?
I'm 50 years old. Yeah. But the adrenaline kept going, and so, and I know I've played enough, so I know the game. So I'm up enough. There's a minute and a half left. I start subtly running out the clock, and then all of a sudden everybody in the park is like, oh, snap, this old man is about to win. And I don't know what came over me. We running out the clock, and something jolted through my 50-year-old veins, and boom, I caught a dunk as the time expired. And then that was it, man. Then so that was, I departed Montreal with their trophy and drove back home to Pittsburgh with my kids.
Amazing.
And then pulled up to, and then came to the GOAT, which is for anybody who is unaware. Winners of the individual tournaments from all around the world come to GOAT Park to play against each other. And aside from the competition, which is super high level, it's just like the worldwide basketball community. It's like the Park Olympics, and we have people there from Barcelona,
Yep.
New Zealand, Japan every year repping.
Yep.
Aside, London, Italy, women from all over the world, and it was just a marvelous experience.
And then all of a sudden, thanks to the NBPA, Baron Davis, two-time NBA All-Star, and Lance Stephenson of the Los Angeles Lakers walk in the park to watch. And you're
True.
out there getting busy, bro. Me and Kirk Rodriguez on the mic, pumping you up, letting the people know, like, yo, he's 50 years old. Yo, he's 50 years old. He might win it. Yo, and I'm saying the Eddie Murphy skit, Jesse, you can win. Jesse, you can win.
I remember that. No, man, I was on one that day. I'm hitting my free throws. I had a couple moves. I threw the ball through homeboy's legs and hit the joint. And the park definitely let me feel the love. And then there was a play. So and I saw Lance and Baron over there. And so there was a play where who's the Matt Thomas, multiple time champ.
Yep.
Tough. The fullback is what the nickname that Bob gave him. And we're scrapping for loose ball. We're on the ground. There's no outs in 21. We're in the crowd. And then we scrap it out. I got up off my knees and grabbed it, and he's up on me. And I just backed him up off me from beyond the sideline and splashed one. And that was nuts. And then you said, Jesse, do the Lance. And so Lance Stephenson at the time had this guitar strum that he was doing, and that was his thing. And he was doing it in the NBA. And so I busted one out, and then later on that day, I'm on Lance Stephenson's Instagram doing the Lance dance. It was, but just think about it. For a dude who's like myself, who scored a grand total in Division I college basketball of 2 points, one basket. One basket. That's my college career. Who never earned a dime from playing anything, but just through the love of the game and the dedication to the craft, gets a chance to play in this atmosphere in front of some of the world's greatest players. And that's what Full Court 21 gave to me and has given to a lot of other people. The ending of this story is this. A couple months ago, Eric, you'll dig this, we're working on a show concept with Baron Davis. And I'm on a Zoom, Baron's on the phone. We're not seeing each other. We're talking about this and that. And then I just let slide. I was like, yeah, Baron, we ran into each other one day. Full Court 21, you was there. I was the old dude. He was like, yo, that was you. I remember. He was like, you was frying them cats. So I was like, wait a minute. And that moment I was like, wow, Baron Davis said that Jesse Washington was frying cats. That's crazy. That's crazy. I've been watching Lance since we had him on the cover of Bounce magazine. I've been watching Baron Davis destroy dudes in the NBA. So for them to have any sort of basketball connection to them, thank you, Bob. Thank you for that.
Listen, you earned it, and all the love.
I just got to say, I live in LA now, and obviously part of me going to LA was the career, part of it was the pandemic. And, that was summer of 19. So fall of 19, Showtime basketball happens, all the smoke launches, KG film gets greenlit. Going back to that day right now is so special in my mind, being there and literally interviewing Baron on the side, interviewing Lance on the side, watching Bob on the mic, making sure that we had the camera coverage, watching you dominate on the floor. For me, that was probably one of my last, before we checked into what I call the dystopian sci-fi film of COVID, which was our lives, right? That was probably one of my last, New York City communal basketball days and experiences.
Wow.
That is so a part of my DNA, who I am, and how I'm here doing this with Bob and with you. Like,
Yep.
that was such a special day. It was that was so great to relive just then. Thank you for taking us there. That was an awesome that was an awesome day. That day had everything that we love about all of it. The creative, the camaraderie, the trash talk, the competition, the game.
Yep.
That was a great day. That was a great day.
Word.
Back
Thank
to you,
for
Bob.
sharing that.
Back to you,
Yeah,
Bob.
nah, thank you.
Get
for
your
sharing
hands
that.
ready. Get your hands ready. Get your hands ready.
I'm always ready. You kidding me? So now, not only does Lance put you on his feed, but I forget what it was, House of Highlights or Ball is Life. One of the big, they post the video of you throwing the ball through Demi Sosa, the eventual champion of FC 21, 2019. You throw it through his legs. You hit the jump shot. The crowd goes crazy, right? That goes viral. You're 50 years old, and you're going viral, but that's not even your illest online moment. Can you share with our audience, please, retell how you wind up driving to this unknown Twitter dude to play one-on-one? Because that story, like, befuddled. Like, honestly, I was like, yo, you got cojones, bro.
Yeah. Okay.
Please,
so
please give us some
Thank you for bringing
context.
this up. All right. So,
Because you go viral twice as a 50-year-old, which is kind of
This is
bananas.
yeah, this is true.
Actually,
50
three
was
times.
A good year. 50 year was a good year, man. 50 was 50. Yeah, I had it popping. So I'm a columnist for ESPN's Anscape, formerly known as The Undefeated, and this is when James Harden is cooking with the Rockets. And there was something about his game that bothered me. He's begging for fouls. He's baiting people into all this. And, obviously Harden is stupid nice. And, his game is great. But he was begging for fouls. So I wrote an article about it, and I quoted all my pickup basketball homeboys from across the country, quoted Will Strickland, quoted my dude from the Y, like, yo, what would happen if a dude came and played with us and was calling fouls like that and begging for fouls? And so basically the title of the column was James Harden is disrespecting the unwritten rules of the game. And I knew, a big part of publishing these days is to promote your work on social media. And I knew that people would come at me on, I used to be on Twitter back then. And I knew people would be like, yo, who are you to criticize James Harden's game? Like, who are you? And so I just decided to have some fun. And everybody who said that to me, I was like, yeah, come play me one-on-one and you could find out. Aha. Just talking junk. And then one dude was like, okay, bet. And I was like, okay, bet. So when you want to ride? He was like, where you at? He was like, I'm in Maryland. I was like, oh, that's just up the way. And then I said, this might make a good video. So I talked to my people. They were like, yeah, it's a good video. So I tweeted him back, yo, you trying to catch this L on the internet? Like, I'm really feeling myself.
See, that's like, not the Poughkeepsie Jesse. That's the New York, Brooklyn Jesse. 100%.
Word.
I feel like it's my fault. Like,
yeah, but thank you. Yeah, it always was a sort of alter ego, like,
yeah.
And I just get, and sometimes, Bob, you see me take it too far. So if I could ride that fence nicely, then,
yeah.
So he agrees to come up and we could play one-on-one. And I have no idea who this dude is. He has no profile on the internet. So I'm riding up with my producer, shout to my man Tess, and we're talking. I'm like, yo, man, this could be a humbling moment. Like, I could get done up out here. I don't know who this dude is. If so, hey, man, I just got to live with it. I'll give it my best shot and live with it.
Yeah,
I'm ready for that. So we pull up to the gym. He's in the Air Force. He's on an Air Force base. And when I pull up to the gym and walk in, everybody knows there's like 50 dudes in the gym waiting for me to get there. And I walk in and they're like, oh. And I like, so where's he at? They're like, he's down there. They point to the far hoop at this guy shooting. And I looked at him and I saw what size he was. And I saw him take one shot and I was like, he's getting done. There's no way that this cat. One
this
shot.
Is dinner. This is a tasty meal right now.
Oh, you got and I flipped into a whole nother zone.
Yeah.
Where the nice, polite Jesse just started being real reckless. He was 6 feet tall, and like Eric, Bob, you could look at a guy and take one shot, and if that shot looks a certain way, that they can't play.
Yeah, sure.
He couldn't play. He had no business being out there.
Uh-huh.
And so So here's the 50-year-old part of it. So we're like, we're not going to play inside. I'm like, nah, let's go outside.
Word up.
So we go. They had outdoor courts out there, and I made sure that I was really warmed up. So I played one-on-one to 3 with everybody in the crowd for like 30 minutes. So I was in a full sweat when the game started. And then I will say my man Tess did a masterful editing job because, like, you know, I'll take a shot, it'll go in. I'll be like, that's 3-0. He would edit it, so I would say 3-0 before the shot went in. But so there was that. However, you can't edit 16-0, which was the score that I mashed this dude.
You
and
left
once it
him
got
on
to
his
about
donut
7 or 8,
beat?
I'm like, nah, I'm leaving him on a donut. And then the last bucket of the game, he missed some shot and he sort of gave up. And I just rode in there and crammed it, 2 hands, smacked the board. The park is like, yo, what is going on? I can't believe it. And I was all the way talking very recklessly to the point when I got home, my kids were like, yo, Dad. And my wife was like, I don't know, Jess. I don't know about that one. But the end story was we put this up on the internet and it does go viral. And, you know, I've written books and some halfway decent articles. I've been doing this for a long time. And everywhere I go, people bring up that, oh, yo, I saw you smash that dude. Like,
Yeah.
That's good. That's like the piece of the piece of content that I've created that probably has the biggest reach. And you know what? I'm cool with that.
So obviously you've done everything with the Coach Thompson book, the documentary, but you've also had a book with Rich Paul. And both of those people are major figures in basketball in 2 completely different lanes and lenses and obviously eras of time. What was it like diving in with Rich, knowing the journey that he's taken and the impact that he's made? Of course, first and foremost, the business of basketball. It's not just LeBron James. It's the business of basketball, Rich's fingerprints on that.
Yeah.
And the book title is Lucky Me, and it was released on Rocklit / Penguin / Random House, and that's the New York Times bestseller, just to make it dummy proof.
Yes, thanks for that, Bob. So that was a wild journey because I didn't know his history. I only knew the public perception of him. Whoever's heard about Rich Paul, it always came prefaced with LeBron James. He sort of had this stigma on him. Oh, the only reason why you're successful is because of LeBron. And his journey up until the moment he met LeBron really explains why he's successful now. And it really speaks to, you know, what LeBron did was LeBron had a very keen eye for people with talent and charisma and that extra special sauce like that you guys have that over time produces results. And so what Rich said was, yeah, I just want to tell people my story of how I grew up. And he sort of sensed internally all of these experiences that I have explain why I'm good at my job right now. And Rich is a humble guy, you know, but he wanted to define himself on his own terms. When I help people write these books, that's really what they want to do. John Thompson had been written about 1,000,000 times, but he had never defined himself on his own terms. And that's what his book was about. So Lucky Me was Rich's childhood story. And it was way more than I had anticipated. And so getting to know him, getting him comfortable enough to share these really difficult, traumatic experiences was pretty special. And I felt rewarded that he would trust me with some of these delicate things and trust me that I could tell them in a way that he found worthwhile. So I think his book is really inspiring for a lot of people, not only for the stereotypical, oh, you can make it too, I did, but also it's inspiring for people in positions of power in this country and all types of different systems to inspire them to look outside their normal comfort zone for talent and ability. You know, nobody would have thought that Rich would have this entree and to be able to get to where he is now. Basketball gave him that chance because he had a random encounter with LeBron James. Bob, I don't know if you know this, but they just ran into each other in the airport one day and LeBron liked what Rich was wearing. He had on a Warren Moon football jersey. And LeBron was like, yo, it was a Warren Moon football jersey. They were both in the airport. They did not know each other.
And Warren Moon, the black quarterback of the NFL. And
correct.
Canadian Football League as well, too, right?
Canadian Football League as well, right?
Nice
From
pull,
the
Bob.
era.
Nice
Come
pull.
on, come on, Eric. I'm trying to keep up with you, bro.
Right. And, like, yes, there's a lot of things that we still need to correct about racism and injustice in this country. But not that long ago, black quarterbacks were not allowed to play quarterback in the NFL. Like Warren Moon was one of the first guys, So Rich Paul was wearing a Warren Moon authentic jersey, which was a new hot item. Rich Paul has always been very fashionable, sneakers, everything. He had all that. LeBron was wearing a Mike Vick jersey with the iron-on letters. And LeBron was like, yo, that's a nice jersey. Where'd you get it? And they hit it off. That and it just so happened that Rich was a person with immense ability, immense talents. Him and LeBron built a relationship. LeBron was like a junior in high school or something, maybe even a sophomore. And they built an authentic, real relationship that blossomed into now Clutch Sports being probably the number one agency in terms of contract dollars and absolutely the number one agency in terms of cultural impact. So it was a great experience.
Wow. That's amazing. I ain't know that. I ain't know that.
Oh yeah. We gonna make it dummy proof, Bob. And so, so.
Wait, did he play ball outdoors though? That's what I want to know.
Yes. So Rich in his neighborhood, they had at the end of his block, they had like a dirt. It was like a vacant lot with grass on it that got worn down to dirt, and they played all sports there: football, baseball, and basketball. And the basketball hoop, I believe, had no backboard, so Rich just had to shoot on a naked rim, and his jumper got nice. And Rich, as a youth basketball player through high school, as a youth, middle school, he was nice. He got recruited to go play at a Catholic school, Benedictine, and then he stopped growing and other things intervened. So he was always, his team won state championships. He was a valuable member of the team, like the sixth man, backup point guard, come in and hit threes. But Rich could hoop. But, the interesting thing about his story and what he points out in his book is that I know what it's like not to be the main guy. I wasn't a superstar. I knew what it was like to go and support and be a good teammate and work hard in practice. And so that's some of the stuff that he imparts to his guys, because not everybody on his roster is a superstar. Be a star in your role. Word. So Rich is a hooper, man. He could play.
So, yeah, I wish Mr. John Thompson read the Rich Paul memoir when he was playing for the Celtics. He might have accepted his role a little bit better.
It was wild. I think he accepted it, but I had to figure it out because Coach Thompson said over and over, yeah, I never got in the damn game. I was playing behind Bill Russell. So the other stat that I looked up, you remember that famous series with the Celtics and the Warriors, and it was Wilt, and it ended with Havlicek stole the ball, the ball. That series.
That year, yeah.
Right.
65,
so I looked
right?
up the stats. The series went 7 games. Bill Russell only sat out for 1 minute of the whole series, and that was in an overtime game. He played every single minute.
Wow.
So that's what John Thompson is talking about. Like, yeah, I might have got 7 minutes a game during the season, but during the playoffs, Bill Russell, he kept saying Bill Russell never came out the damn game. And he didn't. You go 7 and you play the whole thing against Wilt? Wow. I mean, come on now. That's another era.
Yeah, that's.
Did you see?
And Chuck Taylor's at that, yo.
In Chuck Taylor's, yeah, in flats. KG's always been really passionate about Wilt and Bill Russell, obviously. And when we first linked up and we were laying out his film, I said, it'd be a heck of an interesting thing to do something that delves into both of them. And KG went the Wilt-only route. He did a 3-parter called Goliath, which premiered last summer. I don't know if you guys caught it on Showtime. And literally the breakdown of the Havlicek steal with the archival. Because that moment tortured Wilt. Because, that was Game 5. Put the Celtics ahead 3-2 in the series that they eventually won. But the breakdown of the archival and what happened, and I don't know if you know this, Bill Russell was inbounding the ball, and the baskets were hung with these cords and ropes that went off to the sides, not straight back, up to the balconies. So Russell's inbounding the ball, Bob, and what sets up the steal moment is his inbounds pass hits the wire, and it's an automatic turnover. So it's like the same thing that, you throw a pass, the ball hits the referee, it goes out of bounds, like tough. So that's how that moment happens, where Philly gets the ball and Havlicek steals it. They go up in the series. But being that we are all filmmakers, being that we are all driven by different stories, I think one thing that we're all driven by is impact. How can a film make an impact? Just because it's a basketball film doesn't mean it's not going to make an impact. Jesse, what was it like for you, going from the editorial writing medium to then, delving into filmmaking and taking on such a powerful subject in the film you did called Bearing Witness?
Thank you for asking. My path to doing that, there were two sort of major motivations. One was that I recognized people don't read as much as they used to, where they're more inclined to engage with the visual medium, and each of them have their merits. And the other thing was that I didn't really know if I could do it, and I called Bob one day, and Bob was, I think, 2 documentaries in at this point, if not 3, and I was like, Bob, people are talking to me about directing. Do you think I could do that? And he said, absolutely. And he sort of broke it down, the process between writing a feature story, which he has done plenty of at a high level, and how that relates and doesn't relate to making a film. So he gave me that confidence, which was, a huge part of it. And then I got to learn, working with really talented people. It's been a very rewarding extension of my career. I think that there's been so many changes in media. Bob and I met working for a magazine, which is, we're going to dummy proof it, which was pieces of paper stapled together with pictures and stories.
That were sold on newsstands and physical,
Right?
physical only.
Right.
You had to leave your house to purchase it. What? Oh my God! Like the kids are like, oh my God, no!
Or this thing called mail. It could get mailed to you.
Yeah,
To
right.
your
Mail
residence.
order. Subscription.
Yeah. So like to still be able to tell stories and to hang on and evolve in this, the business has changed so much. Magazines are pretty much extinct now, and there's different forms of storytelling and different platforms. And so I love it, quite honestly. Also, one thing that Bob and I have always had in common also is that we're both DJs, although Bob is a world-class DJ and I'm a neighborhood turntable scratcher. And so, but to be able to, to combine visuals, the storytelling, the journalism with interviews and music it gives me a real special feeling. And so the Darnella Frazier project was about the young woman who filmed George Floyd's murder and changed the world with the courageousness of her video recording. So to tell that story was a great entree. The opportunity from ESPN Plus and Andscape and The Undefeated was great. And now to be able to keep going has been wonderful.
Did you go there? Did you go to Minneapolis? Were you on the ground there?
I did. The Bearing Witness doc happened because I was in Minneapolis covering the trial of Derek Chauvin, who was the police officer who murdered George Floyd. And so I was in and around George Floyd Square a lot during those weeks. And when the trial finished with a guilty verdict, which was not at all assured, and some measure of justice was afforded to George Floyd's family, then my people asked me, hey, why don't we make a documentary about Darnella Frazier? Shout to Sharon Matthews, who was our executive producer at the time. And so I had to, so I was there, and I was there at the place of his death. I was at the place where the video was filmed. And I've always felt that as a journalist, you have to move respectfully in these places. And I am not entitled to anything. This is their neighborhood, their story, their lives, their existence. I need your permission to come and take this story and tell it. And we're going to bring it back to basketball. So I had been there reporting. I had met with the community leaders. They knew who I was. But as soon as you bring a camera out, it's different. So the camera came out and they were like, whoa, 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 what's this? What's this? And 2 of the community leaders sort of rolled up on me and were like, giving me the business, and they were traumatized and angry and hurt and had been through a lot this whole year. And as we're talking, and one of them is my height. He's tall. He's about 30. And so, Bob, I was just like, I'm hearing him out. And I'm like, yeah, you play ball, man? He was like, I got my ball in the car right now. I said, word? I said, I got my sneakers in my car right now. And so he's like, yeah, the park is around the corner. I was like, yeah, let's do that. And then he found out I wrote John Thompson's book, and he was like, oh, Allen Iverson, blah, blah, blah. And then we went and played. And this dude was tough. We went at it. And it was, he probably got the better of me, but I gave him all that I could handle. And he was like 25, 30. And after that, I was good. I was good. And he said, yo, man, since George Floyd was murdered, thousands of people have come here. Thousands of media people have come here to do this and do that. Nobody ever came to the park and played ball with us. And so the next day, and I was like, yo, man, so what is it that you want out of this? Like, what is your aspiration? He was like, man, I want to have a basketball tournament here in the hood and be able to help give back, blah, 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 blah. So I went to Dick's. I bought a portable hoop, and it was in the box, and I pulled up, and I was just like, yo, put this in your trunk, B. Like, this is our donation, But, that thread, man, basketball, basketball played a role in the making of the first documentary that I was able to direct, bearing witness, the story of Darnella Frazier.
Amazing. And Bob, before you close it out, I asked the question for a couple of reasons. One, because obviously we wanted to hear your experience, but I was also on the ground there with KG. We went back to Minneapolis, and I said, do you want to do this? And he felt a certain pull and obligation. This is fall of 2020, so the world is in complete chaos. And
this is during the making of the documentary that you directed.
Yeah, there's a scene there. There's a scene there in Anything Is Possible. And to be a fly on the wall and watch Kevin experience that was one of the most surreal moments of my life. And you talk about the ball tie-in. He's standing at the mural. He's taking it all in. This is October, but it's like it feels like a December New York day. Chilly, gray. And this young woman walks up to Kevin. And they're in masks, too, because this is 2020. And she says, KG, I don't know if you remember me. I was your ball girl with the Timberwolves. And she was leading the people through the site who would come there. But we had to get clearance from the community leaders. Gary Trent, who was a great, great guy, was with us and helped us. And Jesse, you hit it on the head. Like, hey, is this okay? Like, being very respectful. We're going to have one camera. Like, you felt the emotion, the obvious sensitivity. But what really got me was you walk down that street, and I don't know if it was still the same by the time you filmed there, but you walk down that street, and I'll plug the visual into this. You turn a corner, and they turn the lawn down the block into a mock graveyard of those headstones of all the innocent lives that have been lost. And I froze. I froze. It was one of the most surreal, powerful moments I've ever had. Forget as a storyteller, forget tied to basketball, like in my human experience. So, always.
I know that scene, and we filmed one of our major interviews with that as a backdrop. And actually, that's the closing credits also, and it has the names of victims of police violence, on there. I really. I love what KG is doing, and I love that you're a part of his journey and that you've helped him get to where he's at, because he's always himself, and he knows basketball at such a high level, and his heart is so pure. He's a hooper. I was listening to his show the other day, and he said they were asking him some basketball question. He said, well, are you talking about outside or inside? He's like, nah, you talking about outside, and that just set a whole different parameter for him, and I was like, this dude, yeah, this I could get with that. Like, we need you at full court 21, KG. What up?
Word.
Oh, he would be in a stance on the sideline every trip down. Every trip down.
So Eric, why don't you,
So this is going to be part 1 of 10 with Jesse Washington today. Part 1 of 10.
no, I was gonna say
B-ball radio. Yes.
Eric, you directed a documentary recently with Dan Levin called "More Than a Statue,"
Yes.
about the mayor in Virginia who decided to get the monument taken down of General Lee, and he has his hand in a basketball tournament to help with healing in the community as well. And so, both you and Jesse have ties sort of, with the storytelling and filmmaking and basketball, because when I watched your film, Eric, it was hard to watch, and the moments of the court outdoors and the people and the players gave it levity, and I appreciated that, and I know that was very deliberate on your part. So congratulations on the American Black Film Festival nomination. Official selection, and
Thank you.
I don't know if we're gonna be debuting this podcast before the premiere or after, but either way, props to both of you for doing what you do as filmmakers, and providing a connection to many of us who both feel issues of social justice as well as, the essence of basketball. Now, I'm going to try to wrap this up. I want to be respectful of Jesse's time. You mentioned earlier, and I'm very aware of this, I don't know if Eric knew this, Jesse, but you are a DJ, right? Whether closet, bedroom, living room, backyard, or sidewalk. However, you're also a ball player who played at Yale, right? Give us 3 of your favorite layup line songs of all time.
Ooh, wow.
The 3 joints that got you amped to play ball. Or perhaps maybe like you're in, the modern era, you see the kids wearing the AirPods on the layup line, not listening to their coach or their teammates, and they're just trying to zone out before the game starts. What are the 3 songs, Jesse?
Ooh, 3 songs. Okay.
You're on the this is our layup line segment. Eric, you like how this is working out? It's like all these segments that we outlined are just organically working into the
I
narrative.
love it. Yeah, I mean,
So I'm gonna do
you
some
know what
bookends.
my field goal percentage was in the layup lines? Come on.
Yeah, I was All-American Division III layup line. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was getting nasty on the layup line, yo. I'd be like, I'm not going to get no burns. So everyone in the crowd has to know that I can play. So I'd be doing triple slaps, reverse spins.
Wait, you can
layup.
slap board?
I used to clap, B. I used to grab the rim. I never dunked on a regulation in my life, but I used to lay the ball up and just grab the rim, know?
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm sorry.
I'm gonna go full. I'm gonna give 2 bookends. I'm gonna give 2. So I think that in the 90s was when I was at my peak as a player.
Okay.
My late 20s. Maybe early
I think
2000s.
you reached your peak in your late 40s as a ball player, personally.
Wow.
And I saw you play all those
Yeah,
decades.
That's true. You did. Yeah, you're right. Actually, you're right. So when I started, and also when the music got to a point, like I never played in an organized environment where they would have in a gym at a game with the layup line. Like they didn't really have that. Yale University was not really banging no beats.
They didn't have Eric B. and Rakim on the layup line.
They did not. They did not. Shout to Chris Dudley, who was I was a freshman when he was a senior.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's wild.
For those who don't
he
know,
was not-
Chris Dudley is the unfortunate Knicks center who got pummeled by Shaquille O'Neal, which is like lionized in the annals of
his
NBA
memes
history for like worst bullying moment.
of getting dunked on.
He would also be front and center in the Hack-a-Player era. Chris Dudley's career, 40% free throw shooter. So Hack-a-Dudley would be on a T-shirt if he was playing presently.
Wait, speaking of
13
T-shirts,
year-
wait, because Jesse's taking a long time to answer this. Jesse's rocking the "Where'd You Get Those" T-shirt, limited edition.
Nice.
That's the title to my sneaker book. Where'd you get those? Here, let me pull it out for our audience. Hold on.
Too late. Bow.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
Prop masters.
Bow.
Thank you for
Bow.
repping, Jesse. And Jesse, listen, knowing that I was going to interview you today with Eric, I
Yes,
wore my
sir.
FC21 All World Philly T-shirt. All right, hold on.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love it. I love it.
All right, so I guess now I just got to take us back to everything 84. Come on, let's go.
Yo, that's terrific. That's terrific.
That's like
Yeah,
Eric
man, so-
and Jesse giving each other a pound right now, like Bird and Magic.
There we go.
Yeah,
There we
yeah,
go.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
All right, so back to you, Jesse. And
Yeah.
your preamble
90s
to your
is when I
answers
had-
is
yeah.
going way too long. Editor, please help him out. All right.
Yeah. Pete Rock
All right,
and
come on,
CL.
Jesse.
Pete,
Top three
Pete Rock
Lamp
and
Line
CL
songs.
Smooth.
Go.
Pete Rock and CL Smooth, the main ingredient, for Pete's sake, was one of my deep cuts that I really loved.
Ooh, wait, which one was that? I know it, but I don't know by the title.
Pete had his verse, tie you to the back of my Jeep butt naked, like doom, doom, doom. All I can remember is the beat. Doom, 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 doom. And, I'd be, so my layup line was, I wasn't in an official layup line. I was by myself. So that was what I was listening to by myself as I was getting my game right.
Nice.
Getting ready to go play at Mazrick Towers with you or Go Park or all these tournaments that you took me to. Fast forward, it's last week. I'm preparing for my 55th birthday.
Yes.
And I want to get it, and I want to dunk on my 55th birthday. That's my
Yep.
ritual.
Yep.
I don't put myself playing basketball on the internet too much, but every birthday I'll dunk one and be like, hi, I still got y'all. But I knew that this one was going to be the hardest one yet and the last one. So I'm out there on the playground working out, trying to get it done. And I put my headphones in and I'm just listening to straight Pete Instrumentals albums. So I
Oh,
don't know
the
the titles of
BBE
these songs.
BBE
Right.
from London. That's the record label that put those out.
Pete Instrumentals.
Yeah,
So
DJ
my
Pete Rock,
top-
for those who don't know.
Right.
Legendary
Right.
radio personality, producer behind so many hits, Public Enemy remix. Pete Rock is the man, legendary.
Right. So he has soundtracked my basketball journey from then up until a week ago, where I successfully trained, inspired by Pete Rock beats on the Pete Instrumentals albums, volumes 1 through 3, to bang one last dunk on my 55th birthday. And now I'm going to keep hooping, but there ain't going to be no dunking anymore for me.
And so you successfully caught one on your 55th.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And that's
Absolutely.
on IG, right? Jesse John Washington.
Jesse John Washington, the 55th.
How
I
many
had a little
attempts?
series, so I showed.
How many attempts did it take to get there?
I cannot confirm nor deny any previous the number.
Well,
of
the
previous
reason why I'm
attempts.
asking is because you said you listened to a couple of Pete Rock instrumental albums. So, each one is like 40 minutes long. So that you were playing easily you were trying to get this dunk on camera for at least an hour and a half. So that's what in my head, in my DJ head, I'm like, wait, he listened
It's
to
not
2
far off.
albums?
Nah, real talk. I'm not ashamed to admit I probably missed 40 dunks. Probably missed 40 dunks, but I was like, I got it. Like this is my last shot.
Word.
And I was prepared to, and actually the dunk that's on the internet is dunk number 41. So
Nice. All right. So, Eric, footnote, we should get Pete Rock
Yep.
up here. I don't know that he ever played ball, but I know he's a big Knicks fan. And but maybe he played ball and we just don't know about it. And maybe he's got a court in his backyard that he's practicing on. Q-Tip for a long time was trying to be a ball player. He was getting trained at Basketball City. Never really happened, but he had, sincere interest in becoming.
did you ever see him play?
Nah. I just knew that he was going to work out. I think he did like private sessions. So anyway, that's besides the point. Just you're making me think about hip hop. But listen, we need to wrap this up. Eric, this is so much fun.
There's so much to say. Jesse, thank you. This was awesome. I'm going to send you my film. I'd be honored if you watch it. It debuts
man,
at American
please.
Black Film Festival on June 14th. If you can get to Miami, we'd love
Jesse,
to see you there.
I could co-sign this. Yo, I watched the rough cut and I was like, yeah, it's
No,
deep.
I can't wait. I
Yeah,
can't
it's
wait.
deep.
That's
It's incredible.
That's a great
It's
topic.
incredible.
No, I'm inspired by
then-
you guys, man. I'm inspired by you guys, by your
Thank you.
creativity, your passion, and your podcast, B-Ball Radio. Like, come on, man. This is
Word up. You're an incredible
honored to
guest,
be
Jess.
here.
Jess, you're an incredible guest, my brother. Peace. B-Ball Radio. All the smoke, watch
Can I
out.
get
Coming
Can
out.
I get a
coming
B-ball
out.
radio?
You want to take half
Can I
the
get a
audience.
B-ball radio in the house? Can I get a B-ball radio
Get
in the
one for
house?
Jesse. Yeah, Jesse.
In the house. B-Ball Radio.
B-Ball Radio. Full Court 21, aka FC 21, is the world's first and only 1-on-5 basketball tournament. No teams, no teammates. Whoever has the ball, everybody else on the court is playing D. It's you against the world. I, Bobbito Garcia, aka Cool Bob Love, am producing this in 30 international cities this summer of 2024 for high school students ages 14 to 17, as well as adults 18 and up of all backgrounds. Register now at fullcourt21nyc.com, and we all look forward to seeing you competing and participating in the beauty and the essence of inclusivity and basketball. Park Player Perspective is the first academic course ever examining outdoor basketball's history and culture, everything from pickup to tournaments. I, Bobbito Garcia, co-host of B-Ball Radio, am the educator, and I look forward to meeting all of my students. So please go to coolboblove.com. That's spelled KOOLBOBLOVE.com right now to register. We're going to go every Thursday at 12 p.m. ET for 1 hour from June 20th to August 1st. I look forward to, talking about basketball for an hour with you. Peace. Woo-wee. Ball Radio.